The chains were heavy on Elena's wrists. They were made of some metal she did not recognize. Cold, strange, like everything else in this alien place. She stood in the center of a massive chamber. The ceiling was so high she could not see it. Strange lights floated in the air like small stars. Around her, rising in circles that went up and up, were thousands of seats. Beings from across the galaxy filled those seats. Some had scales, some had tentacles. Some were made of crystal or gas or things Elena could not name. All of them watched her with eyes that held no kindness. Commander Elena Vasquez of the Earth Fleet had seen many things in her 38 years. She had walked on moons made of ice. She had seen stars being born. She had shaken hands with species that breathed fire. But she had never felt so small as she did now. Before her sat the 12 high adjudicators of the galactic hegemony. These were the rulers of known space. Their species had traveled between stars when humans were still living in caves. They looked down at her from their high seats like gods looking at an insect. The speaker of the tribunal was a tall being made of living stone. His voice rumbled like thunder when he spoke. Human Elena Vasquez, you stand accused of the destruction of the Cathari diplomatic vessel, Peaceful Dawn. 847 souls were lost. You are accused of murder. You are accused of starting a war between species. How do you answer? Elena lifted her chin. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her voice steady. I am innocent. A sound moved through the chamber. It might have been laughter. It might have been anger. Elena could not tell. The Cathari ambassador rose from his seat. He was a creature of blue skin and silver eyes. Beautiful in his way, but his face was twisted with hate. Lies, he shouted. We have evidence. Her ship was at the scene. Her weapons signature matches the damage. Her own crew testified against her under neural probe. She killed our people. She killed children. Elena felt the words hit her like physical blows. Yes, there had been children on that ship. She could still see their faces. Small, blue, frightened. I tried to save them, she said. When we arrived, the Peaceful Dawn was already destroyed. We pulled survivors from the wreckage. I held those children in my own arms. I gave them my oxygen when theirs ran out. More lies, the ambassador screamed. The speaker raised a hand for silence. The evidence has been reviewed. The neural probe testimony is clear. The human crew members stated under probe that Commander Vasquez ordered the attack. The probes were wrong, Elena said, or they were tampered with. I don't know how, but I know the truth. I did not attack that ship. One of the adjudicators, a being that looked like a cloud of purple gas, spoke in a whispering voice. Humans have been in space for only 300 years. You are children among the stars. Your word means little here. Another adjudicator, a creature covered in golden feathers, added, your species is young and violent. Your history is full of war. Is it so hard to believe one of you would do this? Elena wanted to scream. She wanted to tell them that humans had changed, that they had learned from their past, that they had come to the stars with open hands, not closed fists. But she could see in their eyes that they had already decided. To them, she was just another violent human, just another monster. The speaker stood. The tribunal has reviewed all evidence. We have heard testimony from 112 witnesses. We have examined the wreckage. We have studied the weapon signatures. We have read the neural probe testimony. He paused. The chamber was completely silent. The tribunal finds the human Elena Vasquez guilty of all charges. Elena's legs almost gave out. She had known this was coming, but hearing the words made it real. No, she whispered. No, I didn't do this. No one listened. The Cathari ambassador smiled. It was not a kind smile. What is the sentence? The speaker's stone face showed no emotion. For crimes of this magnitude, there is only one sentence. Dissolution. The guilty one will be taken apart, molecule by molecule, over the course of 1 standard year. Her pain will be a message to all who would break the peace. The chamber erupted in sounds of approval. Thousands of alien voices called for her blood, for her pain, for her death. Elena stood alone in the center of it all. She thought of her crew, imprisoned somewhere in this station. She thought of her family back on Earth, who would hear that she died a murderer. She thought of the truth that would die with her. I am innocent, she said again, but her voice was lost in the noise. The speaker raised his staff. It was made of black metal and covered in symbols that glowed with inner light. By the authority of the galactic hegemony, by the laws that have governed this galaxy for 10,000 years, I pronounce final judgment. Let the sentence be. He stopped. The symbols on his staff were glowing brighter. Not just his staff. The floor beneath Elena's feet was glowing too. Lines of light spread out from where she stood, running across the ancient stone like rivers of fire. The chamber fell silent. Every eye turned to the floor. "What is this?" the speaker demanded. Deep beneath them, something moved. Elena felt it through her feet. A vibration, a pulse, like a heartbeat. The floor in front of her began to split open. Stone that had been sealed for thousands of years cracked and shifted. A platform rose from the depths, carrying something impossible. It was a stone, but not like any stone Elena had ever seen. It was black and smooth and perfect. It seemed to drink in the light around it. And it was covered in symbols that matched the ones on the speaker's staff. The adjudicators were on their feet. Their faces showed something Elena had never expected to see from being so old and powerful. Fear. "The axiom stone," one of them whispered. "It cannot be. It has never." The stone began to glow, and then it spoke. Its voice was not sound. It was thought. Every being in the chamber heard it directly in their mind, in their own language, as clear as their own thoughts. "A claim of innocence has been made. Justice is incomplete. The bearer must be verified." A beam of white light shot from the stone and struck Elena in the chest, and everything changed. The light burned through Elena like fire and ice at the same time. She could not move. She could not breathe. She could not think. Something ancient was moving through her mind. It looked at her memories. It touched her thoughts. It weighed her soul on scales she could not see. She remembered everything at once. Her childhood on Earth, her first day at the academy, the faces of everyone she had ever loved, the faces of everyone she had ever lost. Every choice she had ever made, good and bad, played before her eyes in a single moment. Then the light released her. Elena fell to her knees, gasping for air. Her whole body was shaking. Tears ran down her face, though she did not know why. The chamber was completely silent. Thousands of beings watched her. None of them moved. The axiom stone spoke again. Its voice filled every mind in the room. "Scanning complete. This one carries the weight of truth. Her heart is measured. Her spirit is weighed. She is named." A pause. The stone seemed to pulse with inner light. "Bearer of justice." The words echoed through the chamber like a thunderclap. Elena did not understand what they meant, but everyone else did. The high adjudicators were frozen in their seats. Their faces showed fear, confusion, disbelief. Beings who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years now looked like frightened children. The Cathari ambassador was the first to find his voice. "This is impossible. The axiom stone is a myth, a symbol. It has never activated, not once in all of recorded history." The speaker's stone face had cracked. Actual cracks ran through his ancient features. The records say it was placed here by the precursors, before any of our species existed. It was said to be the foundation of all law, the ultimate judge. But you thought it was just a story," Elena said. Her voice came out rough and strange. "You built your laws on top of it, but you never believed it was real." She did not know how she knew this, but she did. The stone spoke again. "I have waited. 6,000 years I have waited. Many have stood where this one stands. Many have claimed innocence. None have carried the weight." "What does that mean?" asked one of the adjudicators. "What is the weight of truth?" "It is the measure of a soul," the stone answered. "The precursors who made me understood that justice cannot exist without truth, and truth cannot be found by machines or probes or testimony alone. Truth lives in the heart. I see hearts. I weigh them. I know what is real." The stone's glow brightened. "The one called Elena Vasquez speaks truth. She is innocent of the crimes you have charged. More than innocent. She carries within her a quality the precursors valued above all others. A quality I have not seen in 6,000 years." "What quality?" Elena asked. "The willingness to sacrifice everything for what is right. You knew you would die here. You knew no one would believe you, yet you did not lie. You did not beg. You stood in chains before powers greater than yourself and spoke only truth. This is rare. This is precious. This is what makes a bearer. Elena's chains suddenly clicked open. They fell from her wrists and crashed to the floor. She stared at her free hands. The bearer cannot be bound, the stone said. The bearer cannot be judged by lesser courts. The bearer speaks with my authority, the authority of the precursors, the authority that existed before your species were born. The Cathari ambassador was shaking with rage. This is a trick. The humans have done something to the stone. They have tampered with sacred technology. I cannot be tampered with, the stone said. Its voice was calm but carried a weight that made the ambassador step back. I cannot be fooled. I cannot be hacked or bribed or threatened. I am truth. You know this. Your ancestors knew this. That is why they built their laws on my foundation. The stone pulsed again. Now witness truth. Light exploded from the stone and filled the chamber. But it was not painful this time. It was like a window opening. Suddenly, everyone in the room could see what Elena had seen. They were inside her memories. They saw Elena's ship dropping out of faster-than-light travel. They saw the peaceful dawn already in pieces, floating in the void. They felt her horror, her immediate order to launch rescue shuttles. They watched her crew pull survivors from the wreckage. They saw Elena holding a small Cathari child, giving the girl oxygen from her own suit while the child's blue skin slowly returned to healthy color. They heard Elena's voice, rough with exhaustion. Stay with me. Stay with me. You're going to be okay. They saw her save 17 lives that day. 17 Cathari survivors, including 6 children, pulled from certain death by human hands. And then they saw something else. As Elena's ship worked its desperate rescue, another ship fled the scene. Its signature was masked, hidden by technology more advanced than anything humans possessed. But the stone stripped away the mask. The ship that destroyed the peaceful dawn bore the mark of the galactic hegemony. It was a council vessel, a ship that belonged to the same government now trying to execute Elena for the crime. The vision faded. The chamber was silent once more. Elena looked up at the 12 high adjudicators. You knew, she said. Some of you knew all along. 3 of the adjudicators were already running for the exits. The stone's voice stopped them cold. Those who corrupt justice shall face it. The bearer shall judge. The exits sealed themselves. The 3 fleeing adjudicators found themselves frozen in place, held by invisible force. Elena stood alone in the center of the chamber. She was no longer a prisoner. She was something else now, something that had not existed for 6,000 years, and she had no idea what she was supposed to do. The chamber had become a storm of voices. Thousands of beings were shouting, screaming, demanding answers. Some called for Elena's death anyway. Others called for the arrest of the fleeing adjudicators. Some simply sat in shocked silence, unable to understand what they had just witnessed. The 3 adjudicators who had tried to run were still frozen in place. Elena could see their faces. One was a being of living crystal, and cracks of fear ran through its structure. Another was covered in golden feathers that now lay flat against its body. The third was a tall, thin creature with too many joints, and it was trembling. These were beings who had ruled star systems, who had commanded fleets, who had decided the fate of entire species, and now they could not move a single step. The speaker struck his staff against the floor. The sound cut through the chaos like a blade. Slowly, the chamber fell quiet. This is madness, he said. His voice shook. The Axiom Stone has not activated in recorded history. We do not even know if what we are seeing is real. Perhaps it is a projection, a trick. You know it is not, Elena said. She did not know where the words came from, but she felt the stone behind her, supporting her, filling her with knowledge she had never learned. Your own records speak of the stone, she continued. Your laws are built on its principles. Every species in the hegemony swears their oath of membership before it. You call it the foundation of justice. You just never expected it to actually work. The Cathari ambassador stepped forward. His silver eyes were wild. Even if the stone is real, even if you did not fire those weapons, it does not matter. My people are dead. Someone must pay. Someone will, Elena said. The ones who actually killed your people. She turned to look at the three frozen adjudicators. Tell me why. Tell me why you destroyed a diplomatic ship and killed hundreds of innocent people. Tell me why you blamed it on humanity. The crystal adjudicator spoke. Its voice was like breaking glass. We do not answer to humans. The stone pulsed. You answer to justice. The bearer speaks with my voice. Answer. For a long moment, the crystal being struggled. Elena could see it fighting against the stone's power. But the stone was older than any of them. Older than their civilizations. Older than their stars. Finally, the truth poured out. Humans, the crystal adjudicator said, you have been in space for 300 years. 300 years. We have ruled this galaxy for millennia, and in 300 years, you have spread across 100 worlds. You have developed technologies that took us thousands of years to create. You breed like insects. You learn like nothing we have ever seen. You adapt. You grow. You never stop pushing forward. Its crystal structure cracked further. We ran the projections. In 1,000 years, humans will be the dominant species in the galaxy. In 2,000 years, you will have spread beyond our borders. In 5,000 years, there may be nothing left but you. Elena stared at the being. So you decided to stop us. We decided to contain you, the golden-feathered adjudicator said. Its voice was bitter. We planned to frame you as warmongers, as monsters. We would unite the other species against you, push you back to your home system, keep you there forever, a young species frozen in place, never allowed to threaten us. You killed 800 innocent people, Elena said. Children, diplomats, people who had nothing to do with any of this, just to make us look bad. Necessary sacrifices, the thin, many-jointed creature said. You cannot understand. You are too young, too emotional. We have been making hard choices for longer than your species has existed. Elena felt something cold settle in her chest. Not anger, not hate, something worse, disappointment. You are afraid of us, she said. You are so afraid of what we might become that you are willing to kill innocents, willing to start a war, willing to execute a woman you knew was innocent, all because we grow too fast for your comfort. She looked around the chamber. Thousands of faces looked back at her. She could see the questions in their eyes. Some were angry, some were frightened, some seemed to be truly seeing humans for the first time. The Cathari ambassador lost family on that ship, Elena said. Real grief, real pain, and you used it. You pointed his anger at us because it served your purpose. She turned to the ambassador. His silver eyes were wet. She realized he was crying. I am sorry for your loss, Elena said. I truly am, but I did not kill your people. I tried to save them. The real murderers are standing right here, and they have been hiding behind the authority you trusted. The ambassador looked at her. Then he looked at the frozen adjudicators. His hands were shaking. Is it true, he demanded. Did you use my people's deaths? Did you use my pain? The stone answered. It is true. I see all truth. These three conspired with others. They used hidden ships and false evidence. They corrupted the neural probes that examined the human crew. They planned every detail. The ambassador let out a sound. It was not a word. It was pure grief, pure rage given voice. He turned away from Elena and faced the adjudicators. I called for her death, he said. I stood in this chamber and demanded her blood. And all along, you were the murderers. You made me your puppet. The galaxy required stability, the crystal being said. You would have understood eventually. Humans are a threat to everyone. We are not your enemies, Elena said. We never were. We came to the stars wanting to learn, wanting to share, wanting to be part of something greater than ourselves. You could have been our teachers, our guides. Instead, you chose to be our killers. The stone spoke. The conspiracy goes deeper. These three did not act alone. Records exist, communications, plans, all will be revealed. Light pulsed from the stone again, and suddenly everyone in the chamber could see it. Messages between the three adjudicators and others, meetings in dark rooms, plans drawn up over years, a systematic effort to destroy humanity's reputation and push them out of galactic society. It was all there. Every lie, every manipulation, every death they had caused. The chamber erupted again, but this time, the anger was not directed at Elena. This time, the anger was directed at those who had betrayed justice itself. Hours had passed. The chaos had slowly become order. The chamber had been cleared of most observers. Only the remaining adjudicators, the Cathari ambassador, and a handful of officials remained, and Elena. She stood before the three conspirators. They were no longer frozen, but they were bound by energy restraints that glowed with the same light as the stone. They could not escape. They could not hide. They could only wait for judgment. Elena felt exhausted. Her body ached. Her mind was spinning. This morning she had been a condemned prisoner waiting to die. Now she was something called the bearer of justice, holding the fate of ancient beings in her hands. She did not want this. She had never wanted this. "Stone," she said quietly. "Why me? Why a human? Why now?" The stone's voice was gentler now, almost kind. "The precursors who created me understood something important. Justice cannot be given. It must be chosen. It must be earned. I was designed to wait for a being who would choose justice even when it cost them everything. But why a human? I do not choose species. I choose souls. I have scanned billions of beings over 6,000 years. Many were good. Many were honest. But few were willing to stand alone against impossible odds and still tell the truth. You knew you would die. You knew no one believed you. Yet you did not lie. You did not bargain. You did not try to escape. You simply said, 'I am innocent.'" Elena closed her eyes. "I didn't have any other choice. Lying wouldn't have saved me. Many beings would have lied anyway. Out of fear, out of hope, out of desperation. You did not. That is what the precursors valued. That is what made you worthy." One of the remaining loyal adjudicators, a being that looked like flowing water given form, spoke up. "Bearer, the conspirators await your judgment. What would you have us do with them?" Elena looked at the three prisoners. She thought about what they had done. They had killed hundreds of innocent people. They had tried to destroy her entire species' future. They had corrupted justice itself, turning the very system meant to protect the innocent into a weapon against them. Part of her wanted them dead. It would be simple. It would be fair. An eye for an eye. The old human way. But that was not who she wanted to be. "Let me talk to them first," she said. She walked toward the crystal adjudicator. Up close, she could see that it was ancient. Patterns in its structure showed the passage of thousands of years. It had seen empires rise and fall. It had made decisions that shaped the fates of billions. "You said humans would become dominant in 1,000 years, Elena said. "You were afraid of us. Tell me honestly, were we ever a threat to you? Did we ever attack you? Did we ever try to take what was yours?" The crystal being was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke. "No. You were annoying, eager, always asking questions, always wanting to learn more. But you were not hostile. You were just growing. And that scared you. Yes, change is frightening. We have maintained order for 10,000 years. We know how things work. Humans are chaos. You do not follow the patterns. You do not respect the old ways. You make us question everything we have built." Elena nodded slowly. "I understand fear. I've been afraid many times. But I've learned something about fear. It makes you do terrible things if you let it control you. You were so afraid of what we might become that you became monsters yourselves." She turned to the golden-feathered adjudicator. "You talked about necessary sacrifices, hard choices, as if killing innocents could ever be necessary. As if children dying could ever be a choice anyone should make." The feathered being lowered its head. "We told ourselves it was for the greater good." "The greater good," Elena repeated. "That phrase has been used to justify every evil in history. My species knows this well. We have made the same mistakes. We have committed terrible crimes in the name of safety, in the name of order, in the name of the future. We know where that path leads. It leads here, to innocent blood on your hands and lies in your mouth." She stepped back and looked at all three of them. "Here is my judgment." The chamber fell completely silent. "You will live. The conspirators looked up in shock. Even the loyal adjudicators seemed surprised. You will confess your crimes publicly. Every species in the hegemony will know what you did and why you did it. You will personally apologize to the families of everyone who died on the peaceful dawn. You will surrender all of your positions, all of your power, all of your influence. You will spend the rest of your lives working to repair the damage you have caused. Elena's voice grew stronger. You wanted to destroy humanity's future. Instead, you will help build it. You will work alongside humans. You will teach them what you know. You will learn from them what they know. And maybe over time, you will understand that we were never your enemies. We were just children who wanted to grow up and join the family. The thin, many-jointed adjudicator spoke. You would show us mercy? After everything we did? Mercy is not weakness, Elena said. It takes more strength to heal than to destroy. I want you to live because I want you to see the galaxy we are going to build together. I want you to watch humans grow and change and become something beautiful. I want you to understand that your fear was wrong, that we are better than you imagined, that everyone can be better than they are. She looked at the stone. Is this acceptable? The stone pulsed with warm light. The bearer has spoken. Justice is served, not through blood, but through truth. Not through revenge, but through redemption. The precursors would be pleased. The Cathari ambassador stepped forward. His silver eyes were still wet, but something had changed in his face. Human, he said. Elena, you saved my niece. She was one of the children you pulled from the wreckage. She told me about the human who gave her oxygen, who held her hand and told her everything would be okay. I did not believe her. I thought she was confused, traumatized. He bowed his head. I am sorry. I called for your death. I hated you and your people. And all along, you were the one who saved my family. Elena reached out and touched his shoulder. Grief makes us blind. I don't blame you. Then you are better than I am, the ambassador said. Perhaps that is why the stone chose you. Elena shook her head. I'm not better than anyone. I'm just trying to do what's right. The stone spoke one final time. That is precisely what makes you worthy. You do not believe you are special. You simply try to be good. This is the rarest thing in the universe. Elena did not feel worthy. She felt tired and overwhelmed and scared. But she also felt something else. A small spark of hope. Maybe things could get better. Maybe the galaxy could change. Maybe humanity could help make it happen. One choice at a time. 6 months had passed since the trial that changed the galaxy. Elena stood on the bridge of her ship, the Aurora's Hope, watching stars streak past the windows as they traveled through faster-than-light space. Her crew moved around her, checking systems, monitoring readings, doing the 100 small tasks that kept a ship running. It felt good to be back where she belonged. The galaxy had not been the same since the tribunal. News of the conspiracy had spread to every corner of known space. The 3 adjudicators had made their public confessions, just as Elena had ordered. They had faced the families of the dead and spoken the truth about what they had done. It had been painful to watch, but it had also been necessary. Humanity's reputation had changed overnight. The species that had been called violent and dangerous was now seen differently. The humans had been framed. The humans had been wronged. And when given the power to take revenge, a human had chosen mercy instead. That last part had surprised everyone, including Elena herself. She touched the mark on her wrist. It had appeared after the tribunal, a pattern of light that seemed to live under her skin. The stone had called it the bearer's mark. It meant she could call upon the stone's power when true justice was needed. It also meant she would never be just a normal person again. Commander? Elena turned to see Lieutenant Chen, her second in command, approaching with a datapad. What is it? Message from the Hegemony Council. They're asking if you'll attend the Peace Summit on Cathar next month. The ambassador specifically requested your presence. Elena smiled slightly. Tell them I'll be there. The summit was meant to create new agreements between humanity and the other species. Real agreements based on trust and mutual respect, not fear and manipulation. It would take years to undo all the damage the conspiracy had caused, but it was a start. Also, Chen said, we received word from Earth. The Axiom Stone has identified 3 more humans as potential bearers. Elena's eyebrows rose. 3 more? The stone has been busy. Apparently, it's been scanning everyone who visits the tribunal chamber. Most don't qualify, but a few do. Elena thought about this. The stone had told her that humans carried something special. Not superiority, not power, just a particular way of seeing the world. A stubbornness about right and wrong. A willingness to sacrifice for strangers. An inability to accept injustice, even when fighting it, seemed hopeless. Other species were older, wiser, more advanced. But humans had something they lacked. Something that had been sleeping in the Axiom Stone for 6,000 years, waiting for the right soul to wake it up. What about other species? Elena asked. Has the stone identified any bearers among them? Chen shook her head. Not yet. The hegemony scientists think it might be something about human brain structure, or maybe our evolution. They're still studying it. Elena was not sure how she felt about that. She did not want humanity to be seen as superior. They had fought so hard against that kind of thinking throughout their history. The idea that one type of person was better than another had caused so much suffering. Commander? Chen asked. Is something wrong? No, just thinking. Elena looked out at the stars. We need to be careful. This bearer thing, it could go to our heads. We could start thinking we're special, better than everyone else, and then we become exactly what the conspirators feared. Chen nodded slowly. What do you suggest? We stay humble. We keep learning. We remember that every species has something valuable to teach us. Being a bearer doesn't mean being a ruler. It means being a servant, serving justice, serving truth, serving others. That's very wise. It's just common sense. Elena smiled. My grandmother used to say that the moment you think you're better than everyone else is the moment you become worse than everyone else. I never forgot that. A beep from the communications station interrupted them. Elena walked over and saw a message marked with the Cathari diplomatic seal. She opened it. The message was simple, a single image and a few words. The image showed a drawing made by a child. A human figure stood in the center, surrounded by stars. The figure had a glowing heart that sent light out in all directions. Around it, smaller figures of many shapes and colors reached out their hands. Beneath the drawing, in carefully written universal script, were the words, "Thank you, bearer, from Mira of Kethar. You saved me. Now you are saving everyone." Elena remembered the child. Small, blue-skinned, terrified. She had held that little girl in her arms while the oxygen ran out, telling her over and over that everything would be okay. She had kept that promise. Commander? Chen had noticed the emotion on Elena's face. What is it? Nothing. Just a reminder of why we do this. Elena saved the image to her personal files. She would look at it whenever she needed to remember what mattered. Set course for the Helix Nebula, she ordered. There's a colony there that reported strange readings. They asked for human explorers to investigate. Yes, Commander. The ship turned toward new horizons, new discoveries, new chances to show the galaxy what humanity could be. Elena thought about the future. The stone had said that humans would spread across the stars, that they would grow and change and become something unimaginable. The conspirators had feared this. They had seen it as a threat. But Elena saw it differently. Humanity would grow, yes, but they would grow alongside their new friends and allies. They would learn from the elder species and teach them in return. They would make mistakes and correct them. They would face challenges and overcome them. And whenever justice was needed, whenever truth was in danger, there would be bearers to stand up and speak, not just humans. Eventually, hopefully, beings of every species would carry the weight of truth. The stone was patient. It had waited 6,000 years for Elena. It could wait longer. One day the galaxy would be filled with bearers, not rulers, not conquerors, just ordinary people who refused to accept injustice, who chose to do what was right even when it was hard, who believed that truth mattered more than power. That was the future Elena wanted to build. Take us forward, she said. The Aurora's hope leaped into the light between stars, carrying humanity's hopes with it. Behind them in the great chamber of the tribunal, the Axiom Stone pulsed gently. It had found its bearer, the first in 6,000 years, but not the last, never the last. The age of justice had only just begun.